The sniper team said it was impossible to hit. Too far, no visibility, no shooter in sight across the endless Nevada desert. But then, the impact landed. Perfect, precise. And when they reviewed the footage, they realized someone had taken the shot without ever being seen. What happened next froze every operator on that mountain and redefined what invisible warfare really means. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing for more tales of unrecognized heroes. Her name was Staff Sergeant Mira Blackstone, and she had been lying motionless in the Nevada desert for 18 hours when the impossible shot request came through the radio. The rugged mountains surrounding the Hawthorne Army Depot stretched endlessly under the scorching sun, creating a landscape where shadows and mirages made long-range observation a constant challenge. The sniper team from Delta Force had been positioned on Observation Point Alpha for 6 hours, attempting to neutralize a high-value target located 2,800 meters away in a fortified compound. The mission parameters were clear. Eliminate the target during a brief window when he would be exposed on an outdoor balcony. But the distance and environmental conditions had proven insurmountable. Master Sergeant Jake Callahan lowered his Barrett M82.50 caliber rifle and shook his head in frustration. As the team leader with over 12 years of special operations experience, he had successfully completed shots that other snipers considered impossible. But today's conditions were testing the limits of both his equipment and expertise. Range is 2,800 meters, Callahan said into his radio. Wind is gusting up to 15 knots from multiple directions. Heat distortion is severe. I can barely maintain a stable sight picture, let alone guarantee target accuracy. His spotter, Staff Sergeant Luis Moreno, agreed with the assessment. Jake's right. The thermal layers are creating vertical displacement that's changing by the second. Standard ballistic calculations aren't accounting for the microclimates between here and the target. Technical Sergeant Ashley Reed, the team's long-range specialist, had been running ballistic computations for the past hour using every advanced system available to special operations units. Her laptop displayed atmospheric models, wind calculations, and trajectory projections that painted a clear picture of the challenge they faced. The math doesn't support a reliable shot at this distance under current conditions, Reed concluded. Even with perfect ballistic solutions, the environmental variables are too chaotic for consistent accuracy. Captain Marcus Webb, the mission commander observing from the Tactical Operations Center, understood the implications of their assessment. The target window was narrowing rapidly, and alternative approaches would require weeks of additional planning that they didn't have. Team Alpha, this is command, Webb transmitted. We need that shot. Mission success depends on eliminating the target during today's exposure window. Callahan studied the distant compound through his scope, watching heat waves distort the image of buildings that seemed to shimmer like a mirage. Command, the shot is beyond current capabilities. We need to consider alternative approaches. Negative, Alpha. Intel indicates this is our only opportunity. Target will be relocating tomorrow to a facility that's completely inaccessible. The radio frequency fell silent as the team processed the impossible nature of their situation. They were among the most skilled precision shooters in the military, equipped with the most advanced weapons and targeting systems available. Yet the environmental conditions were defeating their best efforts. Mira Blackstone had been monitoring the radio traffic from her concealed position 1,200 meters northeast of the Delta team's location. As a sniper instructor at the Army's elite precision shooting school, she was observing the exercise to evaluate new long-range techniques, but her role was strictly advisory. She was not authorized to participate in the actual mission. Her concealment was so complete that even the Delta operators were unaware of her presence. Mira had spent years perfecting fieldcraft techniques that made her virtually invisible in natural environments, skills that had been honed during multiple deployments where detection meant death. From her position, Mira could see both the Delta team's observation point and the distant target compound. She had been tracking the same target through her own optics and had noticed environmental patterns that the other team might not have observed from their different vantage point. Command, this is Overwatch, Mira transmitted on a secure frequency that only mission leadership could monitor. I've been observing the target area. Request permission to provide additional reconnaissance support? Captain Webb immediately responded. Overwatch, what's your assessment? Sir, I'm seeing thermal patterns that suggest a brief stability window developing. The microclimate conditions might allow for target engagement if properly timed. Webb consulted his mission briefing materials. Mira's credentials were impressive. She held the instructor record for long-range precision at the sniper school and had multiple confirmed eliminations during combat deployments. More importantly, her position provided a different perspective on the environmental conditions. Overwatch, can you coordinate with Alpha Team for target engagement support? Mira studied the distant compound through her scope, noting atmospheric indicators that suggested changing conditions. Negative, Command. My position doesn't support direct coordination, but I can confirm target acquisition when the stability window opens. What Mira didn't mention was that her position provided a direct line of sight to the target compound at a distance of 3,100 meters, even farther than the Delta Team's challenging shot. From her concealed location, the environmental conditions were different, but potentially more favorable. As the afternoon progressed, the Delta Team continued their attempts to achieve target acquisition. Each effort was frustrated by the same environmental factors: wind patterns that changed every few seconds, thermal distortion that made range estimation nearly impossible, and atmospheric density variations that affected ballistic performance unpredictably. "This is impossible," Moreno said, lowering his spotting scope in frustration. "I can barely keep the target in sight, let alone call accurate adjustments." Callahan had been a sniper for over a decade, but he had never encountered conditions that so completely defeated his technical capabilities. "Command, we need to abort. The environmental factors are beyond manageable parameters." Captain Webb faced a critical decision. Mission intelligence indicated that failing to eliminate the target today would result in the loss of months of planning and potential threat escalation that could endanger other operations. But pushing his team to attempt impossible shots could compromise their safety and mission effectiveness. "Alpha Team, stand by. We're evaluating alternative approaches." From her concealed position, Mira continued monitoring the target area. Her years of experience in diverse environments had taught her to read atmospheric conditions that standard meteorological equipment couldn't detect. She noticed patterns in the air distortion that suggested the chaotic thermal layers were beginning to stabilize. "Command, this is Overwatch," she transmitted. "Thermal conditions are showing signs of stability. Recommend continued monitoring for engagement opportunity." "Overwatch, what's your confidence level on target engagement?" Mira made a decision that would define the mission. "Sir, I have target acquisition. Request authorization for engagement." There was a long pause before Webb responded. "Overwatch, confirm your position and range to target. Range is 3,100 meters. Position is concealed. Favorable environmental conditions." Webb consulted his tactical display, trying to locate Mira's position. The implications of her statement were staggering. She was claiming the ability to make a shot that was 300 meters farther than the one that had defeated the Delta Team. "Overwatch, you're claiming target engagement capability at 3,100 meters under current environmental conditions?" "Affirmative, Command. I have a stable sight picture and favorable ballistic conditions from my position." Callahan and his team monitored the exchange with growing amazement. They couldn't even locate the Overwatch position, let alone understand how someone could claim better environmental conditions at an even greater distance. "Command, this is Alpha," Callahan transmitted. "We cannot confirm Overwatch position or verify claimed capabilities." Mira understood their skepticism. Her concealment techniques were designed to make her undetectable even to other military personnel, and her claimed shot distance exceeded what most snipers considered theoretically possible. "Command, request immediate authorization for engagement. Target exposure window is optimal." Captain Webb made a command decision based on mission requirements and Mira's documented expertise. "Overwatch, you are authorized to engage. Alpha Team, maintain observation and confirm results." From her position, Mira could see the target moving onto the balcony of the distant compound. Through her scope, the figure appeared as little more than a heat signature distorted by atmospheric interference. but her years of experience allowed her to track movement patterns and predict position. She controlled her breathing, allowing her heart rate to settle into the rhythm that preceded every precision shot. The environmental factors that had defeated the Delta team were indeed challenging, but from her position, the thermal layers created a brief corridor of stability that could support accurate fire. The shot broke with perfect timing, the .300 Winchester Magnum round beginning its journey across over 3 kilometers of desert atmosphere. Mira tracked the bullet's path through her scope, watching for the impact that would confirm or deny her calculations. At the Delta team's position, Callahan and Moreno were focused on the target area when the impact occurred. The target figure suddenly collapsed on the balcony, struck by a round that seemed to appear from nowhere. Target down, Moreno confirmed through his spotting scope. Clean hit, center mass. The radio frequency erupted with confused transmissions as the Delta team tried to process what they had witnessed. They had observed a successful target engagement, but they had not seen muzzle flash, heard a shot report, or detected any indication of where the round had originated. "Command, this is Alpha," Callahan transmitted. "Target eliminated, but we cannot determine shooter location. No visual or audio signature detected." Captain Webb was reviewing drone footage that had been monitoring the entire area during the engagement. The thermal imaging showed the Delta team's position clearly, but there was no indication of another shooter anywhere in the operational area. "Overwatch, confirm your engagement." "Target eliminated," Mira responded simply. "Overwatch, we need visual confirmation of your position. Alpha team cannot locate you." From her concealed location, Mira could see the Delta operators scanning the surrounding terrain with their optics, unable to locate her position despite knowing she had to be somewhere within effective range of the target. "Command, my position is secure. Mission accomplished." Webb faced an unprecedented situation. His mission had been completed successfully, but by a shooter whose location remained completely unknown to other personnel in the area. The security implications were significant, but the operational success was undeniable. "Alpha team, conduct area sweep to locate Overwatch position." For the next 2 hours, the Delta operators systematically searched the surrounding terrain, using every detection method available to special operations units. They found no trace of another sniper position, no shell casings, no disturbed vegetation, no thermal signatures, and no equipment signatures that would indicate recent occupation. "Command, this is Alpha," Callahan finally reported. "Area sweep complete. No evidence of sniper position detected." The mystery deepened when post-mission analysis revealed that the ballistic angle of the target wound indicated a shot originating from an area that the Delta team had directly observed during the engagement. Yet their real-time surveillance had detected no shooter activity. Captain Webb initiated an immediate investigation involving multiple intelligence assets. Satellite imagery, drone recordings, and electronic surveillance data were analysed frame by frame to determine how a 100-metre precision shot had been accomplished by a shooter who remained completely undetected. "Overwatch, report to command for immediate debrief." Mira emerged from her concealment position 2 hours after the engagement, appearing from terrain that the Delta team had thoroughly searched. Her ghillie suit and camouflage techniques had rendered her invisible even during active reconnaissance by highly trained special operations personnel. The debriefing took place in a secure facility where Captain Webb, mission analysts, and sniper school leadership attempted to understand what had occurred. Mira's shot had been accomplished under conditions that defeated other elite operators, using techniques that seemed to defy conventional understanding. "Sergeant Blackstone," Webb began, "explain how you achieved target engagement at 3,100 meters when environmental conditions prevented closer shots by the Alpha team." Mira's explanation revealed years of specialized training that went beyond standard sniper doctrine. She had developed techniques for reading micro-environmental conditions that allowed her to predict brief stability windows in chaotic atmospheric situations. "Sir, standard meteorological analysis focuses on average conditions over broad areas. But thermal layers create temporary corridors of consistent density that can support precision fire if properly identified and timed." The technical details of her methods were classified beyond the clearance level of most personnel, but the results spoke for themselves. She had accomplished what others deemed impossible while remaining completely undetected throughout the entire operation. Colonel Patricia Hayes, commander of the sniper school, concluded the formal investigation. Sergeant Blackstone, your techniques represent a significant advancement in long-range precision capabilities. We're implementing immediate evaluation for integration into advanced training curricula. 6 months later, Mira's invisible engagement methods became part of the curriculum at the Army's most elite sniper training programs. Students learned not just the technical aspects of extreme-range shooting, but the fieldcraft techniques that made detection nearly impossible. The Delta team that had been frustrated by environmental conditions they couldn't overcome became students of the techniques that had made their mission possible. Callahan later admitted that Mira's demonstration had fundamentally changed his understanding of what was achievable in precision shooting. She didn't just make an impossible shot, he told new sniper students. She redefined what impossible means. Master Sergeant Moreno, reflecting on the experience during advanced training exercises, offered his own insight. We were so focused on overcoming the environment that we missed the opportunity to work with it. She saw patterns where we saw only chaos. The target compound where the engagement had taken place was later analysed by military engineers who confirmed the ballistic evidence. The shot had indeed originated from over 3,100 metres away, striking with precision that exceeded theoretical accuracy models for the environmental conditions present that day. But perhaps the most significant outcome was the psychological impact on special operations doctrine. The knowledge that a precision shooter could remain completely undetected while engaging targets at extreme range changed tactical planning throughout the military. From the Nevada desert, where an impossible shot had been accomplished by an invisible shooter, to training facilities where new techniques redefined the possible, Mira Blackstone's achievement became legend. Not because of the distance, though that was remarkable, but because of the reminder that the most dangerous opponent is often the one you never see coming. 3 years after the invisible engagement, Mira was promoted to Master Sergeant and assigned to develop the Army's first advanced concealment and precision engagement program. The curriculum she created combined traditional sniper training with environmental integration techniques that bordered on the mystical. Students think invisibility is about camouflage, Mira told new instructors during training development sessions, but true invisibility is about becoming part of the environment itself. You don't hide from the terrain. You become the terrain. Her methods required students to spend weeks in wilderness environments without modern equipment, learning to read atmospheric conditions through sensory awareness rather than instruments. They studied how light, heat, and air movement created patterns that could either reveal or conceal a position. Captain Webb, now promoted to Major, visited the program during its first year of operation. He observed students practicing techniques that seemed to violate basic principles of detection and concealment. "Sergeant Blackstone," he said, watching a student seemingly disappear into terrain that appeared to offer no concealment. "These methods go beyond anything in conventional training doctrine." "That's the point, sir," Mira replied. "Conventional methods produce conventional results. When you need to achieve the impossible, you need unconventional approaches." The program's success rate was unprecedented. Students who completed Mira's training demonstrated precision shooting capabilities and concealment skills that exceeded existing military standards by significant margins. More importantly, they developed an intuitive understanding of environmental conditions that allowed them to operate effectively in situations where technology failed. Master Sergeant Callahan, now an instructor at the program, brought a unique perspective as someone who had witnessed Mira's original demonstration. "She didn't just teach us new techniques," he told students during orientation. "She showed us that our understanding of what's possible was artificially limited." Lieutenant Colonel Hayes, observing the program's impact on special operations effectiveness, authorized expansion to other military branches. "Sergeant Blackstone's methods represent a paradigm shift in precision warfare," she wrote in her evaluation report. "The integration of environmental awareness with technical precision creates capabilities that exceed the sum of their parts." During a joint training exercise with international special operations units, Mira demonstrated her techniques to allied forces. British SAS snipers, known for their own advanced capabilities, observed in amazement as she achieved consistent precision at ranges they considered impossible under field conditions. "How do you maintain accuracy without advanced meteorological equipment?" asked Sergeant Major David Crawford of the SAS. "The environment provides all the information you need," Mira explained. "You just have to learn to read the language it's speaking." The demonstration that followed involved targets placed at varying distances across challenging terrain. Mira engaged multiple targets from positions that remained undetected by observers using thermal imaging and electronic surveillance equipment. Canadian JTF-2 operators requested detailed briefings on her concealment methods after failing to locate her position during a week-long training exercise. "She was operating in terrain we had under constant observation," reported Captain Marie Dubois. "Yet we never detected any indication of her presence." The psychological impact of Mira's capabilities extended beyond technical training. Knowing that an operator could remain completely undetected while maintaining lethal effectiveness changed how military planners approached mission design and threat assessment. Colonel Robert Mitchell, analysing the strategic implications of the program, noted significant changes in operational doctrine. Traditional approaches to area denial and position security are being re-evaluated based on demonstrated capabilities that we previously considered theoretical. As the program expanded, Mira continued developing new techniques that pushed the boundaries of human performance in natural environments. Students learned to predict weather changes hours in advance through atmospheric indicators, navigate without instruments using environmental cues, and maintain concealment under conditions that defeated technological detection systems. The original Delta team that had been present during Mira's first impossible shot became case study subjects for understanding how environmental factors could be leveraged rather than overcome. Their experience provided baseline data for developing training protocols that prepared operators for situations where conventional methods proved inadequate. Staff Sergeant Moreno, reflecting on his transformation from frustrated spotter to advanced instructor, often told students about the moment that changed his understanding of precision shooting. "We were trying to fight the environment instead of working with it. She showed us that the desert wasn't our enemy. It was our ally if we learned to listen." 5 years after the invisible engagement, Mira's techniques had been integrated into special operations training programs throughout NATO. Her methods influenced everything from sniper doctrine to reconnaissance procedures, fundamentally changing how military forces approached operations in challenging environments. The Nevada desert, where her legendary shot had taken place, became a training site where new students attempted to locate her original position. None succeeded, despite detailed maps and GPS coordinates. The terrain itself seemed to guard her secrets, offering no clues about how she had achieved the impossible. During advanced training exercises, Mira would sometimes return to that original position, not for nostalgia, but to remind herself that true expertise came from understanding that every environment had lessons to teach. The desert had taught her patience, precision, and the art of becoming invisible not through technology, but through harmony with the natural world. The story spread through military sniper communities with the kind of respect reserved for achievements that transcend technical accomplishment and enter the realm of art. Because sometimes, the most perfect shot isn't the one that demonstrates superior equipment or training. Sometimes, it's the one that demonstrates superior understanding of how to become one with the environment itself. Students who graduated from Mira's program carried her lessons to conflicts around the world, where they applied environmental integration techniques in diverse terrains and conditions. Their success rates and survival statistics validated her approach, proving that invisible warfare was not just possible, but essential for future military effectiveness. And sometimes, the most powerful message isn't delivered with noise and flash. Sometimes, it's delivered with silence and precision by someone who was never there at all.